We're doing what we can to board up our glass front church doors because they've been a target before. We want to preserve them from breakage and damage.
First at 5, bracing for protests. A Catholic church in North Portland is beefing up security ahead of rumored demonstrations. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. I'm Laurel Porter. Protesters are slated to march through North Portland tonight in opposition of the United States Supreme Court and its position on Roe v. Wade. As Mike Benner reports, the congregation at Holy Redeemer Catholic Church fears it is a prime target.
I've talked with some leaders at Holy Redeemer Catholic Church, and they tell me both local and federal law enforcement has warned them of the possibility their church might be targeted. They, of course, hope that's not the case, but they're not taking any chances.
Friday morning at Holy Redeemer Catholic Parish in North Portland, parishioners and staffers get ready to board up the church.
I'm quite concerned. You know, my family's been in this parish for over 100 years.
Tom Markgraf's concern stems from what's planned to happen at nearby Peninsula Park late Friday. Demonstrators plan to protest, condemning the United States Supreme Court and its decision to overturn Roe v. Wade.
We as a church stand against the taking of an innocent life through abortion.
That makes the Catholic Church, and in this case Holy Redeemer, a prime target of those who see it a different way.
We would love to sit down and talk. We'd love to dialogue. We'd love to have a respectful conversation and exchange of ideas.
But that's unlikely, judging from what we saw just last weekend. A nonprofit and several other businesses in Northeast Portland's Hollywood district were damaged by protesters.
We're saddened that people take destruction as a means to express their opinion.
Father Michael Belinsky says in hopes of deterring demonstrators, parishioners were planning to keep vigil at the church Friday night, but they've since been encouraged not to by both police and the Archdiocese.
This group is seen to be very violent and intent on destruction and to use things that they can project or throw, things that can cause harm.
Father Belinsky is asking his parishioners and others in the community to stay home and pray the safeguards the church is putting in place work and protesters show mercy they haven't in the past.
Well, I think it's just mayhem, and I think that's what we're seeing throughout the city. And we've got to clamp down on it because it's just out of control.
I'm told Holy Redeemer Church has hired some private security to be on site Friday night. In the meantime, a spokesperson for the Portland Police Bureau tells me they've been in regular contact with the church and they'll be monitoring the demonstration, reminding anyone who causes destruction they're subject to arrest and prosecution. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
It is July 1st, and a number of new laws are now in effect in Oregon and Washington. For instance, some Oregon workers got a raise today. The minimum wage increased statewide, varying based on where you are. In the Portland metro area, the minimum wage is now $14.75. It's now $12.50 in rural areas. Also, a major reform to Oregon's bail system. Now, arrested suspects will be released or held in jail before their first court hearing or trial based on their threat to the community. In the most dangerous cases, they won't be allowed out on bail, no matter how much they're able to pay. Advocates say this will make Oregon's justice system more equitable. However, critics say for lower-level criminals, arrests will just become an inconvenience if they don't have to post bail. In Washington, new laws include a ban on the sale and distribution of high-capacity gun magazines. High capacity is defined as a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. The law, however, does not impact possession of them, just the sales. Another law attempts to crack down on catalytic converter thefts. It requires businesses that buy them to show a record of their transaction and pay through a traceable source like check or credit card, not with cash. Catalytic converter thefts have been rising nationwide in recent years. And Washington license plate fees went up today. Now you'll pay $50 for a new plate instead of $10. The money will go toward funding Washington's transportation initiatives. Heading into the holiday weekend, most Oregon counties are now in the high risk level for COVID cases. Some new variants are throwing off predictions for how the virus might behave and delaying the latest COVID forecast. Tim Gordon's in the newsroom, and Tim, the forecaster did say COVID-19 will continue to increase through the month of July.
Yeah, Laurel, that's right. And that's because of some new information about the strength of some subvariants that have really come on in Oregon. These are Omicron subvariants BA4 and 5, and they can really spread. In fact, officials say they now make up more than half of all new cases in the state. It's part of why the CDC just upped the number of counties at high risk for COVID transmission. You see them on that Oregon map, most counties now in red. So expect more of what we saw in June, including more people in the hospital, according to Peter Graven, who forecasts COVID activity for OHSU.
And now I think we have a pretty good idea that indeed we will see some increased infection rates. We are seeing, and with that has come some increased hospitalizations.
Well, recommendation number one is still be vaccinated and get boosted. The booster is really important when it comes to these Omicron variants.
And that was Dr. Paul Cieslak with Oregon Public Health reminding us of the most important way to be in the low risk category for COVID. And we know a lot of you will be celebrating the 4th of July holiday starting this weekend. Dr. Cieslak says avoid indoor gatherings, but outdoors he is much less concerned with this virus spreading. Laurel.
Thank you, Tim. Big changes to tell you about at a popular Portland business, Moonstruck Chocolate. It has been sold to a new owner and is closing its Portland area retail stores. New York-based Chocolate Works is buying Moonstruck. Their new business plan is to sell Moonstruck chocolate online and in big box stores. So the local stores in St. John's, Beaverton, and downtown Portland are all shutting down. Many Moonstruck retail workers are being let go as a result. The chocolate itself will still be made here at a facility in Northeast Portland. Getting around places like parks and beaches can be difficult for people with mobility issues. And that is why an Oregon nonprofit is working to bring more electric, all-terrain track chairs to the Portland area. The first one is in Tigard, and Bryant Clerkley had the chance to see how these chairs work today. Bryant?
Hey, Laurel, they're similar to electric wheelchairs and they work the same way. They make it easy for people with mobility issues to get outside and enjoy nature. The nonprofit David's Chair Outdoor Mobility Systems distributes the chairs, and they're trying to raise more money in order to get more chairs here in the Portland Metro. 73-year-old veteran Michael Ireton is using an electric all-terrain track chair to get through the trails at Champouy State Park. The first of these chairs is at American Legion Post 158 in Tigard. It was all possible through a partnership with the nonprofits David's Chair and Oregon Parks Forever. The chairs last 6 to 8 hours and you just have to plug them in to charge. The tracks on the bottom of the chairs work in all terrains. You can also take them in shallow water.
I've got rheumatoid arthritis really bad, so it makes it a little bit difficult for me to go out walking trails and things. And I think this is going to be great for going out and just doing a trail hike somewhere.
Steve First is the founder and CEO of David's Chair. 5 years ago, his friend David started having mobility issues. They raised enough money for one of the all-terrain track chairs, and then the nonprofit was started in order to get more chairs to people. Currently, the organization has 7 chairs, and most of them are in Southern Oregon. The chairs are free for people to use. People just reserve them through davidschair.org. First says the goal is to bring more chairs to the Portland area.
It's going to come down to raising the funds to get more chairs to be able to go to those spots. So like I said, we're a nonprofit, and the chairs are $15,000 to $24,000 depending on the type of them.
Over the next couple of years, the nonprofits are working to find hosts at American Legion, VFW, and tourism-related entities along the Oregon coast and I-5 corridors, where chairs can be stored and made available for people with mobility challenges.
And when we say mobility challenges, it's not just paralysis, amputees, cerebral palsy. We have people with arthritis. We have people that are just elderly and they can't. It's tough to get around. So we want people to understand that you can use these chairs if they're available.
I've never seen anything like this before either. This chair seems like it's going to do wonders for our mobility challenge veterans and even non-veterans.
And this weekend, the organization will take 6 chairs to Seaside for people to use. There's already 20 people signed up for this event at the beach this weekend, and the organization is working on grants to raise more money. And if you're interested in donating, I'll post a link to their website on our page, kgw.com. Laurel?
Wow, what a wonderful project, and I bet that those chairs will do wonders. Thank you, Bryant.